2 weeks ago, I was sitting in bronze. I didn't know the meta, I didn't know which characters were broken, and honestly, I didn't even plan to grind Marvel Rivals. Fast forward, less than 20 days later, and I hit Grandmaster. In this video, I will break down exactly how I climbed from bronze to Grandmaster, the lessons I learned along the way, and how you can apply them to your own games, whether you're stuck in low ranks or aiming for Diamond or Grandmaster. I'm not going to waste your time with stories. All you need to know is I pretty much started again from zero. I knew some maps and some characters here and there, but I learned everything else simply by playing. Someone said anyone with a basic understanding of how each character works can reach Diamond or Grandmaster easily. While that's mostly true, there are other factors people in lower elo ignore that hold them back from ranking up. I do have experience in other shooter games, my aim is decent, and I carried over my knowledge and game sense. But those games are nowhere near similar to Marvel Rivals. I'm a DPS main, so this video will mostly be for DPS players, but don't worry, some topics apply to every single role. I will cover 5 key topics that help me improve and rank up fast. If you are a DPS player, consider learning more than one character. I personally one-tricked Phoenix until high platinum, which probably only worked because my aim was decent, but learning other characters helps a lot since many of them have sub-roles. I learned Phoenix, Bucky, Moon Knight, Punisher, Storm, Hela, Iron Man, and Psylocke. Both Namor and Bucky are really good into anti-dive, DPS, and tanks, so learning them is extremely beneficial. Most Moon Knight players I've seen don't even aim properly, yet they carry games because nobody in lower elo focuses them. Hela is a really strong DPS and hit scan that often gets banned, so having Phoenix as a backup is great, especially if you're inconsistent with headshots. Iron Man is what I like to call a low elo demon, with decent movement and positioning. He's insanely strong against players who don't know how to play into him. For example, I pick Iron Man whenever the enemy team is running characters that can't even touch me, usually against Moon Knight and Squirrel Girl players, since I can pick them off easily without stacking with my team. It's also good to learn some dive characters since you will need them in certain comps. I usually let others handle dive because I'm not a huge fan, but if I really have to, I play Psylocke since she's a good flanker and her ult gets a lot of value. I'm not going to go through every character in the game, but it's important to know what they do. Every DPS has abilities that counter others, so knowing matchups and how counters work saves you a lot of suffering in those ranks. The first topic is positioning. The longer you stay alive, the more impact you have. Obviously, you can't just sit back and bait your teammates, especially as a DPS. I've seen players stack up against Moon Knight and Squirrel Girl without realizing how much ult charge and free damage they are feeding them. I have also seen players pick in the most exposed angles against hit scans like Widow or Hawkeye, who can easily one-shot them. If you, as a DPS, push way too far, your support will be forced to follow you, which usually won't happen, and you will be left alone and vulnerable. Some kills are simply not worth it. Hawkeye and Widow usually take high ground or positions with strong cover so they can instantly reposition and take backline angles. Sitting behind their team won't get them value. Some supports aren't safe either if they isolate themselves, since most divers will punish that instantly. Think about your positioning, watch the enemy characters, and based on your team comp, decide where and how it's best to play. The second topic is target priority. This is especially important for DPS players. I've seen so many players sit with their team and just shoot the front line. Sure, some characters are supposed to burn shields or break walls, but if both or all 3 of your DPS are doing that, you will struggle, especially against triple support comps. You can win those fights, but you will run out of time. Focusing their backline is so much easier than people think. If one person flanks or shoots from a different angle, half their team will instantly turn around. If all 6 enemies are staring at the same spot, breaking through is hard. But if even 1 or 2 are distracted or paranoid about flanks, everything becomes easier. A friend and I came up with a really strong flanking strategy. It requires your team to hold the point, but it works insanely well. We both flank on Daredevil and Psylocke, since he can see through walls. He calls out when their supports are split up, and we run in together, kill one, then get the other. And from just that, their whole team collapses. Getting supports down ends fights fast. Flanking, comboing, or just forcing them to constantly look behind them helps your team massively. Ult Discipline. Not much to explain, but incredibly important. Don't waste ults in lost fights. I've done it. I've seen people like this strange here do it. Ulting to stay alive or ulting when half your team is dead. It's pointless. If you play support, try not to ult at the same time. Use text chat and say something something like, I will ult first, so you don't overlap. If enemy supports use their ults, don't use yours immediately. Wait until your team is actually struggling. Once you see the right moment, then you ult. This gives you your ultimate while theirs is down, which is a huge advantage. Don't use your ult when the fight is already won. Don't use it when it's clearly lost. Tanks like Magneto usually wait for Punisher or Cloak and Dagger or Iron Man ult, then counter ult. Iron Man's ult just feeds him, and Magneto fully destroys both Punisher and CND in their ults. It works with many other supports and DPS too, but that's the most common example. Also, practice combo ults. If you play Moon Knight or Namor and enemies keep escaping, using your ult with most tanks guarantees kills instantly. Consistency. Playing the same hero gave me a better understanding of how they work. I learned different playstyles, how to get out of fights alive, and when the best moments to ult are. You learn ability combos, synergy with teammates, and you make tons of mistakes that you eventually learn from. Being consistent with each character doesn't just make you better, it makes you more aware of what the enemy is going to do. By mastering Phoenix or Moon Knight, I understood exactly how players use them and how they get value. One-tricking isn't always bad, but if your character gets banned or if your team desperately needs a different pick, that's when you hit the wall. That's why after 20 hours of Phoenix, I switched to other characters. And lastly, mindset. I never tilted when I lost games. I joined new matches like nothing happened, and it works. EOMM hell is real. You will win a bunch, then lose a bunch. And repeat, don't let that discourage you, because you will climb eventually. If I lose 2 games in a row, I know I'm going to lose more, so I just don't care much. I either keep trying, take a break, or stop until the next day. Tilting over it is just pointless. Also, DPS and tank players, stop complaining about no heals when you die. Seriously, 80% of the time, your backline is getting obliterated without you even knowing. I've seen it constantly. Sure, some supports are bad, but many just can't do anything when 3 divers jump them every 2 seconds. If you ignore that, it's kind of your fault for not protecting them. They are fighting for their lives while you're chilling on the front line, and they're trying to survive and heal at the same time. It's not really ideal. So pick Bucky or Namor or any DPS tank that can peel, sit with your supports, focus the divers, and still fight the front line. The more you help your supports, the easier it is for them to help you. That's pretty much everything for today's video. Let me know if you want to see me play all 10 placement games on my main account. I have been thinking about making a video on that. I hope this was helpful in any way, and let me know down in the comments below if you want more educational videos where I talk about how I went from bronze to Grandmaster in more detail. Thanks for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.